Hello everybody, it's me, and uh, I've had a lot of friends ask me, and people who are interested in my work ask me, how exactly I do things in the Hammer editor, how I go about doing certain things. So, I'm going to start a little series where I work on stuff in the Hammer editor. But it broke my hammer. Okay, sorry, that's one of my friends. We're going to work on a map for 30 minutes and I'll just show you all of the stuff that goes into making these maps. Everything. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up the map that we're currently working on. And today we are working on lighting. So it's kind of just a chill, sit back, relax, watch me, or do whatever you want, do homework, whatever you're going to do while we're working on this. I got plenty of tips, especially when it comes to Black Mesa Hammer, considering that Black Mesa is the hardest hammer to work with, unfortunately, because there's so many issues and there's so many different things that are unknown when it comes to Black Mesa. So, we are going to go to our maps that we're working on. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little lost on my own fucking computer. Sorry if you don't like cursing, but I am definitely a cursing kind of dude, so um so yeah, here's our map that we're working on at the moment. So in this map, I had figured that this area that I was working on is pretty bland, lighting wise, so I decided to go for more of a zenish kind of look for this area. Now if you're not familiar with Black Mesa, um Zen is, of course, an alien, realm. So, if you don't know the story, I'm not going to explain it. The point is, we want this area to look very alienish. We want to make it look like it's being taken over. So, it's going to be heavy in displacement work, as you can see. You can see my displacements. It's going to be heavy in that regard. So, you can see we got this displacement set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some stuff to it to make it look more lively, look like it's actually got stuff growing on it. Now we could be using Hammer++, because I have it downloaded. You can actually see right here I have Hammer++ downloaded. It does work for BM using one of my friend's awesome guides on Steam. If you want me to show you where it's at, I will link it in the description. Anybody interested. But anyways, should work for other Source Engine games as well if you want to get working, but of course it's solely for Black Mesa in the guide, but you can take similar steps. So his guide is very good. I used it. It's the only guide out there really that shows you, at least for Black Mesa. But we're not using Hammer++ today because Hammer++ doesn't do four-way displacements, it doesn't show up, and it doesn't do blend measure textures. So, therefore, these displacements we're working on would not show up at all. They would never show up. They'd simply cease to exist. I mean, if you clicked on them and magically hit them, they would show their mesh, but that's it. So we're using regular hammer. As laggy as it is, that's why we have a cordon activated. Now, people of all kinds, I say you should watch these videos. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're just starting in the hammer editor, whether you're working on it later. I also will be doing Source 2 stuff with Half-Life Alyx and stuff like that, so we'll be using that hammer as well, the Source 2 hammer. But we're not doing that right now. We have a project for Black Mesa, and I am sticking to it. I don't care whether Source 2 is new or old. I mean, in this case, it's new, so, but we're not using it right now. But I do know how to use it. I've started learning. It's fairly different from the Hammer editor, actually, but from the original, the OG, but it's very cool. So as you can see, we're kind of taking these little flowers. They're actually called Zen fingers. And we're kind of spreading it amongst the displacement. Maybe have one right here. And just nicely placed in like that. Now the ideology is that this is underwater. You can actually see here we're using an HD water model with an analog because this is a water rising section. And we can't have legitimate plants down here. It wouldn't make sense. I mean, yeah, we could pull some bullshit like, but Zen plants can breathe underwater or something, you know, like we could just be like that. But we're not. We're gonna go the extra mile and put some detail into it and be like, okay, let's say Zen fingers, for example, are something that can live underwater, but all other Zenian plants, Zeninian plants cannot survive down there. So we're gonna do that. And what we're doing right now, you're wondering what these triggers are. They're actually dust motes. So it'll look like the plants are kind of glowing and lighting up like underwater particles and stuff. And if it's above water, it'll look like it's just lighting up for, say, you know, maybe like dust particles. But these are very cool for lighting. They're actually in almost, I think, all Source Engine games. So you're in luck if you want to have some fancier lighting. But Black Mesa, I can assure you, of all the Source Engines, even CSGO has the most complex lighting because of stuff like new lights. And if you haven't modded for Black Mesa or built any sort of maps, you won't have a single clue of what I'm talking about until you have actually used the hammer for Black Mesa. So, yeah, we're using dust motes, and you'll see that it actually has a very nice, cool effect. Now, you don't want to have too many dust motes because that could potentially cause the game to lag. This area, kind of want to do that. See, like that. So you can see we've kind of spread these little triggers around. You can see that's a dust mote. We have 25 particles per second. We have maximum particle speed at 2. But yeah, it's going to make these plants look kind of cool. Very glowy. Very cool. So we're going to do this. But yeah, anybody who's interested, Black Mesa Crawlery, we are still developing for it. It's just taking a very long time. We've got lots of work to do, but we've also gotten lots of work done. We're trying our hardest, I can assure you. We are trying to get the shit done, but we are not going to screw over any sort of quality to get the stuff out faster. We're just not doing it. I actually started going crazy because I wanted to release this stuff so fast, and think fuck, one of my teammates was just like, bro, you cannot release this shit, this is horrible. And so I took it back, and now we're back at step 1, and see, map 1 that we made was a complete success. Like, it was a very well done map. We did a very good job. The problem is, map 2 wasn't. I rushed it in effort to complete something else that I'm not allowed to talk about. And I will not be talking about it ever until it releases. I won't even give a hint at all, so, because I've already accidentally given hints on it, so I'm just gonna shut up about it right now, so, before it slips out. So, yeah, so here we are. I'm not gonna say what map this is in particular, but it's an important map, that's for sure. So now we have these little, you can see these little things. We want these. These are called environment sprites. Now, one thing you do want to make sure when you're using an environment sprite is always have, when you place it, unless you don't want to have it on, and you want to have it on by a trigger or something, make sure you go to its flags and have it on start on, because I'm pretty sure in every Source Engine game, the flag start on is off, and people think that they have environment sprites on, but they don't. It's a common misconception, it's a common mistake, and it's not good. It's a big mistake, actually. And it's a complete waste of your time because you sat there making environment sprites that don't even work. They're not even on. Now, if you, in this case, have just figured out that your environment sprites are not on, and you want to turn them all on, I would go to this little thing, go to Map, go to Entity Report. This is a lovely tool. Make sure you don't accidentally click Entity Gallery. Click Entity Report. Do not hit Entity Gallery unless you're in an empty map. So you could type in env_sprite and do point entities. And here it'll list every single environment sprite you have in the map, even named ones. And then you could just do this. You could just highlight them all, go up the list, and then go to Edit, go to Properties, and go to Flags and have it on Start On for all of them. Now, if there's some that you don't want on and they're named, just make sure that you don't highlight those ones. It'll save you a trip. Make sure you do save before you do what I just told you, because Hammer is very unstable and it will fucking crash. It loves crashing when you make massive changes like that. So we're going to spread these sprites, and then we're going to compile this, and I'm going to show you what it looks like and why I'm doing this. Now, it's not going to light up too much because this area doesn't have too much of these. It only has it underwater. So, oops, just placed it through the displacement. Just placed it through the displacement again. I just want at least one sprite over here. Right there. That'll do. That'll do. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. Okay. So, and we'll want one here. Right here. There we go. So we got our sprites. Sprites will actually lag Hammer pretty bad because they show up. Like you can see through this, you can see that they're showing up. So once you start getting a lot in your map, you want to start lowering your range using buttons 2 and 1. You can actually, if I can show you, see how it increases the range and lowers. 2 increases, 1 lowers. That's how you have it run better. Hammer++ doesn't really give a shit because it just runs good in general. But you gotta make sure. You gotta be very careful about that because then Hammer starts lagging like a motherfucker. We gotta get sprites on these fucking things too. And then we'll compile, and since we have a cordon set up, we can then, you know, move on. Oops. You don't want too many sprites. You don't want it to be like fucking your like map looks like a Christmas tree. You want just enough to get it to the point of which you get the point across that the lighting's good. Now, I am no master at lighting. My friends, Jimmy Belt Buckle, the person that I have working with me on my project, and the person that I work with on multiple other projects, he I would consider to be the master of lighting in our dev group, which makes him a very large asset. Because, I mean, lighting is extremely important. And he's also good with music, very good with music. So, it's a big win for me. And it's also good to work with people who know what they're going on, knows what's going on, you know. And my other friend, the Gargantua specialist, he's been, you know, mapping for a really long time too, so he's a very viable asset as well. Without them, I would not be making good maps at all. They've helped me out a lot, so shout out to those two. Okay, so our lighting looks like it's good enough. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at what this looks like in the engine. So we're gonna run this on normal. It's gonna go through pretty fast because we have cordons. We also have instances on those, so shit's gonna leak out of the map, but it's not gonna be a leak that breaks the game because it is an instance. So it's not gonna give me a .lin file to find a leak. That's one thing about instances. Because you can see right here in the compile log, it says, you know, push cart, Zen slime, Zen fingers, all of that shit, because it's the instance that's over here. In this area. And these instances as well. Okay, so it's launching Black Mesa. Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at our supposedly beautiful lighting. So you can see it's pretty dark. But look at the water. It's like, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It's pretty cool, huh? So then you drop down. And look at the beautiful lighting. You can see that there's dust motes. And the Zen fingers are glowing. Everything's gorgeous. Everything's vibrant. This doesn't seem like it's got some lighting going for it, so we gotta fix that. And you go over here. There's more beautiful lighting. It looks like we could use a little more environment sprites, but look at that. Isn't that crazy? Gorgeous. Very cool. So you can actually physically tell whether there's sprites and whether there isn't. Like, for example, there's a sprite here, and there's one missing here, there's one here. You know, it's kind of like, okay. And maybe we want that kind of effect. Maybe we don't want every single one to be glowing like a motherfucker. I just want kind of some simple glowing lights here and there. Hell, maybe you could make an argument that some of these go dormant. Some of them don't glow at certain times, and the others do glow at certain times. I mean, the possibilities are endless as long as it's within decent reason, you know? But you can see that the dust motes, it really works underwater and above water because it looks like water, you know, like, you know, kind of like a water, what is it? You know, like particles underwater. Like shit particles, or You know, something. So, it's pretty cool. So, we're not going to waste our time too much longer on this, but I'm actually going to send this to one of my teammates because I actually love this lighting. I wasn't expecting it to look that cool, to be quite honest with you, so I'll just send it to him real fast. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to be doing this mid recording. No, that's the wrong one. He's gonna kind of flip out. Hopefully he flips out. If he doesn't like it, then that's not good, because Jimmy's a lighting expert. Okay, so back to Hammer. So, we have all these beautiful things, but we want to add this to an... No, you know what, never mind. We're not going to do that just yet. Now that we kind of have the underwater kind of, you know, Zen stuff, we want some topside kind of stuff going on too, where we can actually have real plants as well, not just the Zen fingers, like areas like this. So we're gonna actually create a patch of like shit on the wall, like growing stuff. Okay, so we got right here. We seem to be having. Is it gonna pop up? Okay. Bam. We're gonna drag this back here, like that. We want this to be kind of a girthy displacement. We want plenty of wiggle room, but we do not want it to... What did he say? Says it's pretty. He's not going too nuts about it. That must mean that there's a catch. Let's see. Oh, okay. His problem was it doesn't look like sewage. It's more of a settling tank. I was going for sewage in the beginning, but this area was very boring before I started adding the kind of Zen stuff. That's not good. Okay, so back to this. We have, we're gonna want to use something like this. We're gonna want to use this rock as a base, and then we'll start using some more organic material. So it's gonna glitch out because it's a four-way, or not, it's a... Okay, see, now it's okay. Actually, you know what? We're gonna destroy this. I don't like it. We're gonna create a power 4 displacement, so we have more wiggle room. So we want to kind of shape it into the wall. So sorry guys, I know this is probably going to be a pretty shitty episode. It is just a chill kind of thing. It's not extremely serious, but it is important. So we're going to take this and we're going to put it in the wall because we don't want any leaks of the displacement. So we're going to just kind of staple it in like this. See? Some people say that this might be a lazy way of doing it, but I don't really see any other way of doing it. I mean, myself, I feel it's lazy, but it's worked every time and nobody's really ever said anything about it. So I don't know how anybody else does their displacements. If you have any sort of weird way that you do your displacements or something that isn't my stupid way, let me know in the comments. But I do it this way because I think it's cool. It works. It makes it so you can't see. Whatever works as long as there isn't a fucking error for it. Now I will get an error for it, and it'll say that I need like the physics won't be compressed on these, so because it's a power 4 displacement. So now we're gonna start popping this shit out of the wall. You see how it's kind of making that weird kind of rocky feel? But it doesn't look great either though. It looks very tacky, and that's where we're gonna get into switching it amongst the X or the Y and Z variables. It's very important. And then smoothing it out. You do want to smooth it out. And we're about to be out of time actually, so I will see you guys next time when, I don't know, we'll be working on something, but stay tuned for more of this kind of content. I know there's a lot of series that I've started that I've kind of given up on, and I apologize for that. I am a very weird person, and I do not I have a very hard time keeping on things, but BMC is definitely not something that you need to worry about. I am 100% integrated within this project, and I will finish it until I fucking die, or like, or I finish it, you know? It's a hobby, and it's something that I find very fun, very frustrating as well, but it's a hobby. I love it. It's fun, and I meet a lot of fun people. Even though Black Mesa does have a lot of egotistical people in the community, I still, you know, treat them with respect. I talk with them. But otherwise, I don't get in any sort of, you know, some drama. I just don't want part of it. If there's any drama regarding my business, then yeah, I'll talk about it, but I'm not gonna get involved in other people's crap. I really don't like getting in other people's business. Because it's just, I don't know. We're about to run out of time here soon, people. You can kind of see what I'm going for. I'm making like this kind of rocky displacement. It looks kind of good, but it's going to need some smoothing. But it's a whole process, man. I mean, it's not easy. What's going on with you? Oh, it's time. So, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.